It's that time of the week again. Who here remembers magnifying glasses on your Game Boy? Or the Rumble Pack on your Nintendo 64 controller? Or hey, how about even all those cheat codes you could get shoved into the back of your PlayStation 1? Well, we here at the Gift of Gaming Podcast are ready to be an accessory to your enjoyment of video games on this week's episode of the Gift of Gaming Podcast. It's me, your host, as always, Darren Wade. And today I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Xbox Games Pass himself, Luke Maycock.
It's me! Woo! I'm back.
Nice. Welcome. And of course, Kevin joining us for your second?
I think I'm
third?
on 3 now.
Number 3, episode number 3. Kev Purcell. How the hell are you?
I'm doing so well, Darren. Thanks for having me back. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm going to put my phone on silent because I realized as I was doing my intro, I got a little bit of a beep there, and I don't want to ruin the whole. Yeah, I want to ruin the mystery that is the podcast. So, what have you guys been playing since we last talked?
Well, I have been neck deep in Hogwarts Legacy. I haven't stopped. It's like for me. It's just been the best experience. I've just thrown myself into it, exploring the world. I've been a Harry Potter, that world fan since day one. Read the books, movies, been to the play in London, been to the studio tour, and now to have the opportunity to explore the grounds as a student. I'm in heaven, to be honest with you.
With ray tracing on and it all looking beautiful. It
is such a good game. And it's the first thing I'm going to do when I go home as well.
No.
Straight back into it. Straight in. Every minute.
And Luke, what about you?
I've been doing a little bit of everything. I picked up Jump King again. Jump King is a lovely game for punishing yourself. That's a through line with a lot of the games I play. I love punishing myself. But I did uninstall League of Legends, so I'm...
Can we get a soft round of applause for Luke for uninstalling League of Legends?
Congrats. Thanks.
You're on the path to recovery, Luke. Recovery.
So Jump King, no more League of Legends. Rocket League took the competitive spot instead, so I did my ranked stuff in Rocket League. And I'm enjoying that at the moment. So that's pretty much everything. That's me. What about you, Darren?
I got into. We've been playing a lot of Catan, the board game, recently, and I had it on the Switch for quite some time. But I've gone back to kind of do all because you can do it all on easy and then do it all on medium and all on hard. So I've jumped up to hard difficulty to try and complete all the boards on hard difficulty, and all it's wanted to do was make me play the real thing with my friends even more than I already do. And today, actually, I picked up it arrived for me, the Cities and Nights, for those who play Catan, Cities and Nights expansion pack. I got a scenario thing for that, and it looks like it's pretty interesting, pretty complicated, but I'm ready to sink my teeth into that. So I've been playing video games of board games. That's what and of course, Hogwarts. But I will hold off on saying what I have to say about Hogwarts until we do the gaming club, because it's... what I will say is I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I'll leave it at that. I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah, a lot more to come on that, I think.
Yeah. And apart from that, fellas, I've my game time, my video gaming time was slashed over the weekend. Yeah, I could, got some stitches in my hand and a knife accident I was telling you guys before the podcast. So I'm going to have some serious catching up to do once I get those stitches out. So don't play with knives, kids. Or adults, if you're not comfortable with them.
You're making it sound so mysterious that I got a knife injury and stitches and I can't play games.
It fell off the counter and I went to grab it like an idiot. That's kind of
we have it on record.
That natural instinct to grab things you see falling. Don't do that with knives. That's bad.
No,
that won't work.
Top of the list.
So as I said just before the intro, we are looking at this week's episode of being kind of video game accessories and some of our favorite accessories that we've had on various consoles, be they handheld. I can't think of any accessories that come with a PC. I mean, we should ask Chris about that one. I don't think they exist, but if they do, I'm sorry, Chris. And so I guess the easiest thing to do would be to kind of go around and talk about a few that have been important to you guys, or some that you love. So Kev, we'll start off with you. This episode was your idea, actually. You hit me up last week. We had a little bit of change in plan. It was myself and Chris had to do an episode last week kind of off the cuff, and then we needed a new one for this week, and you popped up with gaming accessories.
Yeah, and I'll be killed if I don't do it, because I'll have to give her a shout out. It was actually Tara's suggestion.
Well, thank you, Tara.
Nice. Yeah, she was I was like, do you know what, what do you think? What do you like? And she was like, well, I always liked playing ones with accessories. I was like, that is literally like a perfect
Thank you, thank you, Gift of Gaming friends, for keeping the show going, because we are flat out of ideas. Actually, congratulations us, I guess. This is episode, I mean, we've done more than 10 episodes because we've got a few post shows and we've got a couple of the news shows as well. But this is officially episode 10. We have entered double digits.
Double digits.
Yeah.
Another round of applause.
Little milestone, little achievement, little trophy there for us, I hope. But yeah, okay. So Tara gave you the idea, so I can no longer congratulate you, Kev,
Yes,
for
no, I
bringing
have
this.
to retract all my congratulations
Yeah.
and pass them off to someone else. But yeah, like the minute she said it, I was like, that is just a cracking topic, I think, because it's been something I've always had an accessory for every console that I've had. And it brought me back to the very first accessory that I did have, which was the Duck Hunt Zapper.
Nice.
And
yeah.
I remember, it had already been released for years by the time I got it. Like I was kind of like, I think I got like the Nintendo in like mid 90s, maybe late 90s, and I didn't know that game existed or if that the gun existed. And when I got it, my mind was blown. I was like, whoa, we can actually point, click, and the screen will react.
That is pretty legendary, to be fair.
It really was.
quick,
Like, was there, like, I was thinking, like, is there one before it? Like, would that be the first, I suppose, accessory for a major console?
I don't know if it's the first accessory, but I think it's definitely the first accessory that would have had you kind of taking a thing outside of the game and using it as a core component. So this idea that you have like the zapper use as the controller, but it interacts directly with the screen where you're pointing and things like that.
Can you play Duck Hunt without the zapper? Can you play with the controller? Or
I actually do know something about. I don't know if you can, as player one, play as or use a controller to navigate it, because like that would be almost impossible, I would say.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you have a regular controller and you plug it into slot number 2, you can guide the duck, which I didn't know. Which
great.
would just be
No way. So it's like a VS mode almost. You can
pretty much like that, or so I read. I never tested this.
Have you still got it at home? Because the interesting thing about that now is you need what type of TV is this that you need?
Oh, like a CRT TV?
You need a
like
CRT TV to make that work, because we couldn't use it on modern day TVs.
So
Wait, really?
we have an old school TV for just these sort of purposes where I'm not going to jump onto another accessory yet, but I'm pretty sure we could get it to work if we do have it. We definitely have a Nintendo at home. I don't know if we have the game. I remember Jacob saying he thought he had it somewhere, so I think I'm going to send him on a mission to get it, because the nostalgia factor of that game.
Duck Hunt Duo was that's a great one to put in, because the first console we ever had in my house, and I was obviously really young, was my older brothers that would have had it, was the original Nintendo with Duck Hunt, and we had the Zapper as well. That was hella fun, and it was you had the Duck Hunt game in it, but you also had the clay shooting as well. There was like the 2 modes, but I found that technology to be wild. And it's funny because up until we had that type of old school TV, we had one in the room, and I was probably like 17, 18, and we set up one of those in our room and took it out and played it. Now at that time I could have been a moody teenager, but it played like a hunk of shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm definitely not pointing their video game, because you can see the flashes on screen of where it thinks you're shooting. And I was looking up being like, no. And I even got up to the point where I was putting the zapper right up against the TV screen and following the duck, like legitimately just following the duck on the glass of the screen and shooting, and it would still miss. And I'm like, this game's bullshit.
I found that always made it harder. I thought that you had to get the distance almost perfect from screen to gun, because I tried to cheat as well and get right up when I was missing.
Never worked.
And just no, it does not work.
I'm so confused because I've never used one of these Duck Hunt zappers. Is there not a sensor that it picks up, or do you?
So the technology is beyond me, Luke. Kev, I don't know if you know the answer.
I don't know, but there's not like a crosshairs on the screen.
That's fair. I understand that when you plug it into a controller port, you were saying, yeah. And is there like a little something that looks like it might be a receiver or something that's supposed to?
So it's done entirely off the television. That's what's interesting about it now, is that if I took it, like if I brought my Nintendo from my family home to here and plugged into that TV, which is just like your average normal run-of-the-mill everyday flat screen television that exists today, it would not work on it.
How does that work?
You need I don't know. It's wizardry, and it would have been wizardry for that time. I don't know what year Duck Hunt came out, but that would have been wizardry.
Mid-80s, I think it came out. Yeah,
crazy wizardry.
Mental.
You know? And I say, it was quite harsh of me as an 18-year-old to be like, fuck this game, it's broken, trying to, because it wasn't perfect, but like that, no crosshairs, just a flash on the screen of where you were.
What I always liked about it as well, because like it was difficult, like hitting the target could be tough. Like you eventually got an eye for it over time as you do, but the first few cracks, like you were not hitting that thing. Yeah. And what was so annoying about it is the little mascot you have, the dog that you're with, who collects your victim of a duck if you do manage to hit it. When you miss 3, he pops up and laughs at you. But what he doesn't know is you still have a loaded gun and you can take him out.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to hit him.
Yeah, that was great actually.
Game sounds
great. But it had that little. Anytime you missed a couple of ducks or whatever, he'd get up and laugh to that little jingle. It always made me feel like I just like horrible. I was like, all right, dog, I get it. You know I can't shoot ducks on your shittily built Zapper that doesn't really work. That's me being so harsh. It was amazing for the time.
It was so good for the time.
So what about you, Luke? An accessory? I mean, the Zapper has to be in there. I think as a piece when you see it as a piece beside the Nintendo. It's kind of legendary might be a strong word, but it's always in the minds of gamers. It's exactly iconic's the word. Have you got anything that'll match the level of iconic?
Ooh, not matching the level of iconic.
And you don't have to do that, by the way. I'm not trying to put you under pressure.
That's not the criteria. No, nothing that matches the level of iconic. But if you know, you know. For mine, so on Xbox, we all know is Microsoft, and Microsoft also owned a very popular service back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, more so late 2000s, called MSN Messenger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that had integration on the Xbox 360 with a little plug-in keyboard that you could get for your 360 controller, and it was actually beautifully ergonomic. It kind of thin in at the bottom and match the curve of the controller. Do you remember this?
I know the one. I didn't have it, but I remember seeing it, and as you say, it fit flush.
It's snug, and it had, so it was a little keyboard, so you could use it for like messaging friends on your friends list, blah blah blah, like typing out stuff really quickly. That was all grand and novel. But because it's on Microsoft and because they wanted to integrate it with MSN Messenger, which all the kids were using back then, it had a little button on it that was the MSN logo, and you pressed it, and once you'd linked up your gamer tag in your MSN account, you pressed it and MSN Messenger came up in the middle of the game like it was the Xbox guide. Like it just paused your game, brought up MSN Messenger, and you could chat to all your friends on MSN while you were playing your Xbox.
They were the masters of online at the time.
Oh, they were, yeah.
Like they completely owned it. Like, I mean, that kind of stuff even now doesn't exist in a way that I think I'd like it to.
No.
Like some apps that I think should exist on consoles today for, you know, I mean, because they expect you to do everything like from the PlayStation 5. They expect you to do it through the PlayStation 5 chat, to chat to your mates during groups like that. It's like, who the heck does that? Like, give me access to my WhatsApp group.
That's what I was just going to say. That is so clever, because at that time, like, your main method of communicating, if you were like in our age group, it was just pure Messenger. Like that's all you were using. So just be able to like set up like a group chat, who's jumping on whatever game you're playing. Like that's a genius thing.
So your accessory is essentially the keyboard thing that
keyboard that plugs into like the headphone port. I don't know how they got it to properly like send signals and stuff like that, but it was plugged into the headphone port. Little keyboard setup, and the MSN integration of it was the beautiful thing. The amount of times I was messaging friends off the Xbox and I was like, this is just class. Like, this is so easy. It's not like go on computer and talk to friends or play Xbox.
I can do both.
I can do both at the same time. I feel like a genius. I guess it was at a time as well when the idea of like a keyboard on a controller wasn't the most horrifying thing in the world, and I think these days all the big players kind of shy away from that because it's kind of ugly, kind of clunky as an idea. But I think back in the 2000s we had a bit more patience for ideas like that.
Well, a similar thing existed for the PlayStation 4, and I bought it for the PS4 controller because I was and would still love to if I ever had the time, was to go back and play Final Fantasy 14, which is a big MMO RPG that's, I guess, built to play on a PC where everything's easily accessible, typing and stuff like that, because there's no voice chat. It's all you'll have like a type chat thing in the corner, and having to go into that and then bring up the PlayStation 4 keyboard on screen and everything, that was mentally difficult. I was like, it drove me mad trying to, like, these amazing players help me out in certain quests, and it's like, hey, you know, Ren Darks, how's your game going? And they'd like type that up immediately, and I'd be like, oh, hang on 1 second, it is going, and they're already gone, you know, and I'm still clinking away on the PlayStation 4 keypad. But this thing was like, it's exactly like the layout of your QWERTY keyboard that you stuck into the PlayStation 4 controller into the headphone jack, like you said. So I don't know how they made that work, but the moment I started typing on it, it would bring up the chat box on Final Fantasy 14, and you type away while still holding the controller, and it was
dead handy.
Genius.
Very, very satisfying.
Weirdly satisfying. Like you feel like it kind of justifies PC gaming in a way where you're like, what if I just had a keyboard all the time? Then you go, wait, that's PC. Shit.
Yeah. No, I refuse. I outright refuse. Yeah, that's a really interesting one actually, because I really enjoyed the PlayStation 4 one that I had, but I never even considered it No, it didn't cross my mind.
It was an era. It was a period of time.
I'll tell you what did cross my mind though, Luke, because if you had this in our age group when a certain game was fire in the schoolyard, you were king. You were king, let me tell you. Because I had the cable for the Game Boys, which allowed people to transfer Pokemon.
Amazing.
And I remember being in the shed in our schoolyard in primary school, having like 3 or 4 people lining up to be like, yo, can I use your cable to trade my... Did you have to trade like a Gengar or a Haunter to get, like, you know, the way there's only certain Pokemon that would only ever evolve if you traded it, and you know, we all
by trade.
Yeah.
And Machoke and Graveler. I can't think of any others.
That it's very impressive that you remember that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. The most satisfying thing for me, and it's, you know, it's everything's wireless now and you can do everything online now, but having that like cable plug into your Game Boy, and I love the animation, especially for, I think I only ever used it for Pokemon. I don't think I really had any other uses for it, but seeing the animation when you went into a Poke Center and you went up the stairs, and they'd only let you up the stairs if they could read that you had the cable in the Game Boy.
Yeah.
So you felt like a proper VIP. I was like, I've never seen the upstairs of the Poke Center before. Here I go. And I went up and I had Pokemon Red and my brother had Pokemon Blue. And at the time I was very cheeky. I think he hadn't played it in quite some time. He was kind of done with it. So I deleted his file on the Game Boy and set it up and gave him Bulbasaur. Got him to the first Poke Center, then made him trade that Bulbasaur with, I gave him like probably like a Pidgey or a Rattata or something like that, and then had him restart the game, pick Squirtle this time, because I already had Charmander, and it was the most satisfying thing to play that game at that age and have the 3 starters, like Ash did. Have those 3 starters in your team of 6, and like when you would, because that allowed you to battle people as well. The link would allow you to battle people, and there was some of our mates and stuff like that who wanted to play and stuff. But then you get the odd kind of, you know, stranger or kids that I'll give you a battle or whatever else. And the looks in their faces when you had a Charizard and my Charizard might have fainted, so out came Blastoise, and they're like, "Oh,
what a backup!
You've got 2. You've got 2 of the starter." And I was like, "No. I've got all 3, baby." You know, so you felt like king of the playground with the Game Boy cable. And I only ever used it for Pokemon. I mean, if there's any other uses out there for it, I don't care to know, because Pokemon's all that mattered to me.
I think there was like multiplayer, because didn't like Nintendo always tried to tie their, at a certain point they tried to tie their handhelds in with the big consoles, and did Crystal Chronicles not use some kind of link cable for Advance?
They used a link cable for it. It wasn't a link cable. It was and this is another accessory, not on my list, but I was thinking about this one. For the GameCube, the controller port went from the controller port and then went into the back of your Game Boy Advance. It was because we were on Game Boy Advances at that point. So with that game, and I loved it. I've got such fond memories of Crystal Chronicles. I think I might have talked to Craig about it on one of the other previous episodes that we did. But I was such a big fan of it because of the process when it first came out. So Crystal Chronicles is like a Final Fantasy game, and the controllers are your Game Boy Advances. You don't use GameCube controllers.
Very
so
cool.
and because it's your controller, you now have a screen on your controller as well as the TV screen. And the controller wasn't used. It was an interesting concept, because you would arrive in a dungeon, and each person's Game Boy would have a different piece of information. So I played with my 2 brothers and their friend. So I might have had the map on my screen. Someone else might have had like the stats of the enemies that we were fighting, like their HP and stuff like that. And someone else had something else on their screen, and like, you know, items that are like treasure chests. They'd see treasure chests on their screen, but have no map to reference it from. So you'd use all these 4 things together, and then at the end of a dungeon in that game, a Mog, like from Final Fantasy 9 would come down and say, "Oh, you've got mail," and you'd read the mail and answer it on your. So what I loved about that was when we finished the dungeon, there was always this quiet time where me and my brothers and our friend would always be sitting there quietly, like replying to our own mail. You know, and I got a message from my father, they got messages from their sisters, in game or whatever. But and in classic Nintendo, it was messy because to play this game 4 player, you needed Crystal Chronicles the game, a GameCube, you needed 4 Game Boy Advances and 4 of these cables.
That's what I was just going to ask. Like, was it limiting if there was 3 people? Like, would it just not work the same?
No, you could do like between 1 and 4 people. You could do as many as you wanted.
Okay.
But I think to get the max out of that game, because I remember trying to play it by myself, or me and my brother trying to do a 2-player. And it was never the same vibe as if you had a full team of 4, you know, cracking through a dungeon. Because like that, if you had 2 people, you'd have some of the information, but not all of it. But having all the information on your screens and like being the map guy, being the treasure guy, you know, in each dungeon was always such fun.
You wouldn't get the full info. Like they wouldn't split it between 2 the same they'd split it between 4.
I don't think so. I think like they gave you the most important things like enemy stats and the map. I think those were like, no matter how many people were playing, you always had those. Now, it could be wrong. And if I am wrong, email us at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. Got to get it out there at least once an episode. And let us know if I've gotten that wrong. But I think that's kind of how it worked.
We've gone a bit off topic here, but God, I want to play Crystal Chronicles so bad now.
Great.
It's a special game.
Yeah, it is. And like they re-released it on the Switch, but you don't. And this is the thing. I played it. I bought it because I was like, yeah, I want to play this game. But the magic is kind of lost because it's completely online now. There's no local. Like I couldn't sit in a room with 4 people locally and just play it. I don't think, which was a massive oversight on their part to not allow that couch co-op aspect. So it's completely online. So you'll just drop into people's games, in and out of dungeons real quick and finish them, which never has the same kind of joy as it did originally. But Luke, you're right. We're getting off topic. So that was my one, the Game Boy cables.
You being your Pokemon Mafia boss in the schoolyard.
Yeah. Hey kid, you looking for a Pidgey? I got your Pidgey right here. Yeah,
I wonder what the teachers all thought. They were probably like, what are these kids doing?
Yeah.
Like one of them smoking or something. No, everyone's just cabled into a bunch of Game
When
Boys trading.
Pokemania hit, the schoolyard went crazy.
Oh yeah.
It was
got banned in my school. You got banned. You weren't allowed none of the cards, none of the Game Boy sets, nothing. They just like clean slate banned it. You just weren't allowed to do it.
Yeah.
You can do anything else. Beat the shit out of each other. Nobody cared. But do not play Pokemon.
It's character building.
Be normal children and beat each other up. Get in knife fights. But just no Pokemon.
But that was crazy. We didn't get it banned in school for us, Luke. Sure we didn't?
No. It kind of died off in popularity at a certain point. And they talked about it. Like I remember hearing about it. Maybe I just heard about it from other schools. But no, I don't think it ever got banned where we were.
I was in second class. And my next brother up was in 6th class. That was kind of the age gap between us. And in 2nd class, Pokemon was really like on fire. I think when we first entered primary school, that was probably when it was at its peak. And my brother had no interest in it. But what he liked to do, he was a little bit of a tough kid, you know, when we were in school together. It was cool having him as a brother because I was protected like that. We're talking mafia stuff here. Okay. I paid my brother protection money and he kept me safe. No, but I'd be trading Pokemon cards and he'd always come up to me and say, "You got any freebies for me?" And I'm like, "Graham, you don't play with Pokemon cards." He's like, "Just have you got any freebies for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Here's a fucking energy card and a Rattata. I've got 6 of those. Go on, have fun or whatever else." And I didn't realize he was doing it until years later, and he told me that he'd go up and find groups of other 2nd classers huddled together trading Pokemon. And I don't know if you guys remember the phrase "gushy."
Oh yeah.
Where he just threw the cards up in the air and shouted "gushy," so like whoever gets them first gets them. And as the kids all fought for them, Graham and his mates would just push them over, and that was his joy of Pokemon back when I was in school.
You got the best out of it. That sounds hilarious.
Some OG schoolyard bullying.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yes. Yeah. But we've flown off topic here, guys. I could talk about Pokemon all day long, you know, the OG. But Kev, we'll swing back around to you.
Yeah.
Any other accessories?
Yeah, for sure. Like, this isn't a theme. Not all mine are gonna be gun related. It just so happens that
my next one's a gun.
It's a gun, and I had a pair of them. Time Crisis.
Nice.
Time Crisis guns at home.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I remember when I first got that, I lost my mind because I was so used to only being able to experience that, like, you know, going to Leisureplex.
Yeah, the
Or
arcade.
whatever, and you're stamping your foot down. I was like, they're never going to be able to bring this home. Like, there's just no way. Like, this is too far. The technology doesn't exist. And when it came out around Christmas, as it always does. Yeah. And I was the happiest man.
We played it recently in your house.
Oh my god, yeah. We still those guns I think are like newer gen ones, even though they look so old.
Yeah.
But I remember getting the original ones with like the big massive. I think it was Camco. Camco do it? I think it might have been.
I'm not.
Or Namco. Sorry.
No, I think it might have been Namco. I can't remember, to be honest. Did you get the feedback? Did the guns clack back?
Did the guns clack back? No, they didn't clack back, but they had like, it almost like felt like a shotgun. It had like 2 buttons on either side, like the like, I suppose like the handle of it, or like the underneath of the barrel was a tank of a thing. Like, it looked like something like Judge Dredd would use as a gun. You know, it's just an absolute beast. And I think like, we have Time Crisis 2 and 3 at home, but I'm pretty sure I had like 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what happened to 1. But like, jumping back, we do still play at the odd time.
It's very difficult.
It is.
It's so hard.
So tough.
And I consider myself a decent gamer, but man, man. Yeah,
I
that's
thought I
hard.
was a crack shot girl. I remember I was able to complete the games when I was younger.
But that's
Yeah.
because you didn't have to pay £1
That's
every
it.
time you died.
yeah,
Like, you know.
yeah.
And would you? I have so many questions. So you played Time Crisis a lot, and you loved it, and you beat it. When you go to an arcade now, are you like a Wild West spinning guns
I've
around?
always had like an affinity to those games for some reason. I don't know what it is. Like arcade games that feature a gun, I'm pretty good at them. I just always had an eye for it. I think what drives me fucking mad is that like some of the few places you can actually play it that I go now, like they have like the Blackbird out in like Rathmines has one, and like what's the other place? Token in Smithfield there has one. And both guns are just ever so slightly askew. So you have to aim like 3 or 4 inches to the left.
No.
And like just having to make that adjustment drove me mad, because the one at home, way more accurate, I thought.
Yeah.
Like I really thought like...
Well, I mean, maybe I'm doing myself a disservice because we played it at a party at yours, and I had a couple of drinks in me, so maybe that's why my Time Crisis game wasn't on point. Like,
you weren't up to scratch.
No, probably not.
I reckon with a bigger TV, though, you might be able to, because I don't know if it would work on every TV, but the one we play
that's the thing. I don't think it would. I think that's the technology and those type of, because there's maybe because there's the crosshairs and stuff. I don't know. Listen, if any listeners out there are smart because we're dumb, let us know and email us at that address I said, and I'll say it again because I should. thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you could play Time Crisis on modern TVs.
Please do, because we do have it there. Like, it's just sitting there ready to go. It's an amazing game.
Yeah,
love it so much.
It is. It's pure quality.
So we've gone from guns, Luke. Is your next accessory a gun?
My next accessory is another keyboard. No, I'm just kidding.
A keyboard for the Xbox 360.
My next accessory is one that I kind of suspect, Darren, you might have on your list. We haven't talked about our list or anything.
Where's my list?
But my next accessory is the iToy.
Scratch it off my list.
Oh my
Scratch
God.
it off.
No, not on my list.
Oh,
my
no?
list, which is surprising.
You have it on yours?
I have it on mine, and I have it at home. I still have one.
No way!
Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
I'm not sure if I ever owned one myself. I think my neighbors had one, and I got to borrow it a couple of times. But it was so fun. Oh my God, it was so fun.
That was a leap technology-wise. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, like the interacting with things that were appearing on the screen with your body. It was like, do you know what? Like Kinect came so far after that, and
Never had the same.
never even came close to reach. I've played some of the Kinect games, and oh my God, they were nothing compared to the iToy.
iToy was so good.
It was so sharp. It was so sharp.
The iToy for me was one of those things that I remember being sick home from school, and I meant to be in bed sick, but I'll sneak on the TV and put on the iToy, and just the mini games and stuff, and that were just. Because I used to do that anytime I was sick anyway, I'd throw on some video games, but being able to turn on the iToy was a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Can you remember any of the particular mini games?
Oh yeah, I remember loads of them. I remember loving the ninja one.
That was the best one. The guys would just come from the
that was my
side and
favourite.
just flicking them away.
And you just
ever so slightly. You wouldn't have to move too much. You
No.
were doing a weird little flick dance.
And yeah, you definitely used to metagame it and be like, how little can I move and flick these guys away? Because at first you'd do full swings of your arm to the left and full swing to the right. But eventually I was just flicking them off the screen. And it was so satisfying. I don't know. It was great. The window washing game me and my sister loved.
A classic. Absolute classic.
Just clearing the suds off the windows. And they had this great catchy theme song, which I can't quite remember for that one. And then beyond that, I can't actually remember a whole lot.
They had a nice sports range. They had a Keepy Uppy, for example, which was just amazing. I remember being shocked that I could do that. I was like, oh my God, I'm keeping this ball up. I go out to the back garden, pick up a football, get 3 shite. Go in, play the iToy, get 100, and I'm like, I am the king. Keep me up.
I'm going to play fake sports.
I was the exact same. I was like, why can't I do this in real life? Why is this so easy and satisfying? I guess it was in 2 dimensions. That makes sense.
It's that third dimension that really fucks us over, guys.
That gets us. The ball can go anywhere.
The further on that franchise went as well, I think there was iToy. There's iToy 2 and iToy 3 is the games. I don't know if there was another one past that, but I remember by the end, you could play ping pong with your hand against an older. I think it was an old woman was your opponent. You were there slapping the ball.
You actually went
back.
through the it's like a dojo type thing on your through ping pong. Oh man, I'm getting so many flashbacks to the iToy
It was
now.
such a good game.
I never even considered that as an accessory.
Oh yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that
it was
even existed.
So ahead of its time. I remember, Darren, you and me, the reason I thought you might have it on your list was that you and me used to record videos on it.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Oh my God, yes.
This was the podcast maybe 15 years before the podcast existed. Like this was just the two of us. I don't know if we were probably talking about video games, to be honest.
I'd say so.
I think we were talking about video games. We do these little episodes that had to be like 30 seconds long because any more would just eat up all the memory on your memory card, even though it was like 240p video it was recording at.
And I even remember, because we were doing so many of them at the time, I think for my birthday one year I asked for a memory card that was specifically we saved iToy stuff on it, because there was always that argument of like, hey Andrew, can I delete X, Y, and Z off the memory card? He's like, absolutely not.
Make
I'm
a
like,
video.
I want to make a shitty iToy video. Like, can I delete whatever? And so ended up buying a memory card for it as well.
Yeah.
Oh
and
man,
you just touched on to like a game-changing accessory there in of itself. The memory card alone was just so unreal to be able to find.
Did any of us select the memory card as an accessory?
I have it down on the list.
Well, you are probably the most, I guess, educated person in this podcast, Kev, because I cannot believe that we didn't pick the memory card and it has changed how we game.
And do you remember like the booster pack of memory cards? I can't remember what it was called, but like you could slip into the slot like something that could hold like 3 or 4 memory cards as well, so you could really like amplify the memory space.
I don't remember that at all. That sounds great.
There was loads of different ones too. We had one that was, because especially for PlayStation 2, I'm thinking of more so than PlayStation 1. PlayStation 2, we had this, it was a real chunky looking memory card. So it was bigger than the other ones. But it was that classic. Do you remember when old school controllers or any old school accessories, it was that like invisible, so you could see through in the workings. I thought it was the coolest thing ever, like, you know.
Yeah, and I remember that was at a time as well where like you didn't really have to get like on brand accessories. Like there was no obligation to get like a Sony memory card.
You get a Mad Catz controller.
You could get whatever you liked, and it worked so well. They were all so compatible. Like it's kind of moved away from that a little bit now, or totally.
It's Nintendo or die.
Yeah, pretty much. But that was a game changer. I remember I had the same problems that you always had. I was like, which game do I sacrifice to save
and
this new game?
It was really heavy on PlayStation 1. I remember there was a couple of games I loved playing. Populous at the beginning, and there was another one that ate up memory like no tomorrow. Like, you know, where you got 15 blocks in your memory card in the PlayStation 1. Like Populous, if you saved a slot on that, it was like 5. So it's a third of your memory gone with this one game.
That's
and
so good.
what? So PlayStation 2, I think, because that was 8 megabytes on the PlayStation 2? Were they 8 megabytes?
Yeah.
Oh my, 8 megabytes.
Huge.
And the thing about those ones was I loved Jurassic Park Operation Genesis on the PlayStation 2, and that thing took up memory like there was no tomorrow. And it was that thing where it was like, but that's my 5-star Tyrannosaurus Rex park. I can't possibly get rid of that file, you know?
I've spent years.
Literally this thing that I kept coming back to revisit. So like, okay, we didn't mention memory cards. None of us have that on our list, but I think it's safe to stamp it in right now as a very honourable mention.
Yeah,
for
100%. Essential.
Essential. I mean, I don't know what we'd do without it. Speaking of that kind of accessory, this is one that had inbuilt memory on it that I'm thinking of. That you plugged into the back of your PlayStation 1 we're talking about. This is a thing, and I think the correct name was the Energizer. It was this red, really big, I'd say probably twice the size and twice the thickness of a normal memory card. And you'd plug it into the back of your PlayStation 1. And it was in that weird, you know, like the projector kind of slots that you see on projectors, that real funny, I don't know. And you plug it into the back of TVs. I have no idea what the connection was called. Old ass connection anyway. But you plug this Energizer thing in. And when the menu came up, you had this third option to click on this thing. And it would drop down this list of hundreds of video games. And you could go in and select it and do all of these cheats. And I'll never forget going on to Final Fantasy 7 on the Energizer and going to give everybody their ultimate limit, having all characters, everybody on level 99, and playing the game through from the beginning with everything, all the material, all everything. And it was, you know, it was a time before the internet, so cheat codes weren't, you know, they weren't easily accessible. You'd get them in magazines the odd time.
Or you'd learn about them through, like, word of mouth.
Yeah, pretty much.
We had, and I still saved it when I was cleaning out I shared a room with my brothers when I was much younger, so when I was cleaning that room out before I moved out, I came across our cheat code book. And it was just pages on pages of cheat codes that we would have written in, you know, so like each page was devoted to like, you know, Populous or GTA or Z or any of those games.
Theme Park World.
Huh?
Theme Park World.
Theme Park World. Oh man, up down left, up down right, 8 times.
Golden
Golden ticket.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's a golden ticket right there. So this thing had just hundreds of games and all of these, and they weren't even cheats. They were just like mods. Essentially,
You
just
just
like
unlock
modding the
stuff.
game.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. I think I remember that. I think I remember this in the sense that like it got passed around my school. Like somebody had one or two, and it was like, take this home for the
So
weekend
it
and
was-
go crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was this thing where it felt like piracy. Full blown felt like piracy. I remember watching Andrew. He had it. I didn't. He got it from a magazine or a friend or a pirate. I don't know. But
Real pirate.
he brought it back and plugged it into the PlayStation. And I remember being like, this doesn't look right. Like, are we breaking the law here? Like my stupid little mind being like, oh my god, we can do anything with any of these video games. But it was such a crazy thing to do. And unfortunately, there was like I say, there was hundreds of games. It probably wasn't hundreds of games on it. Maybe like 40, 50 PlayStation 1 games on it. But for us, the most of what was there were games that we never owned. I remember.
okay.
I think I remember so strongly Final Fantasy 7 because it was one of the few we could actually activate all these cheats on. Whereas an accessory to video games at the time, it was like the internet in a box shoved into the back of my PlayStation 1 with these
Sounds great.
like mods for PlayStation as opposed to PC.
I just can't get over the image of a pirate, a real pirate going,
Selling me that tech.
Yar, do you want to see Aerith's final limit break?
Oh boy, howdy do I.
Sorry, I can't get that out of my head.
I hope they do so. All right, Kev, what's next on your list of amazing accessories we've love and miss?
There's one that like I didn't use it for its proper purpose, but it gave me hours and hours of entertainment because it was just hilarious to try and play a game using the Dance Revolution map. It was just hysterical. Sinead had it. My sister got it just like to play the actual dancing game. If I ever hear like Video Kill the Radio Star ever again, I would lose my mind. That song was just I think that was like the easy mode song, you know, and she'd nailed it. But I started using it to try and play whatever games I had on, I think the PS1 at the time. So I remember trying to play Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Through the dance match.
Yeah, because I thought like first gen VR, if I close all the curtains, prop the TV up like eye level a little bit, this will be like VR. Was
Like
was
walking around Hogwarts. That's so clever.
Needless to say, it didn't pan out that way. It was so difficult to try and
funny
do.
that you should actually bring this up because I only saw a video on YouTube recently of a girl streamer and she's playing Elden Ring on, I guess, hard difficulty, but she's doing it on a dance mat.
It's insane.
Elden Ring. And finding these insane bosses and like doing the dodge rolls and the attacks on a dance mat.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure like it only had, you know, your directional buttons and then triangle, circle, square, X. I don't know if it had or one or two. I don't think it did. So I like for the Harry Potter game at the time, it was fine. Like I fell every time I had to do anything. Like I was so bad at it. But I was watching, I think I watched the same video that you watched, and my mind was just blown that someone actually figured it out.
I guess there's probably ways in which people could like mod them into certain buttons do certain things because I can't imagine you could play it on like standard controller.
It doesn't seem doable.
I think locking on, you have to use like R3 or something. And I haven't played Elden Ring, but in the Souls games, it's usually something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they probably had an extra input sort of thing. Just to
dance mat, not the Dance Revolution one, but there's a dance mat on my list as well, Kev.
Nice.
Sorry to jump ahead of you here, Luke. I just feel the singers were on the dance mat train. It wasn't a console-ready dance mat. It was just this random dance mat with like 18 inbuilt songs you just plugged into the back of your television. And I don't know if you guys or any listeners out there will know what I'm talking about here, but do you remember that really old plastic? And for like a dance mat to open up and it would stink like that really, I don't even know what material that was, but it would reek of just like plastic.
Yeah.
So we had this and me and my sister played it all the time, but it was this Take On Me by a house. But this was not like the real version. We're talking polyphonic here because this is like a plug into your back of your TV. We had a polyphonic version of Take On Me that me and my sister played on the hardest difficulty. And every time the dance mat came down, it was who could get the high score. And I remember it being like really intense, like me sweating buckets by the time we're done because like we knew this song like the back of our hands. Like we knew that like I should have been on some sort of like top 10 greatest whatever that brand of dancer were, because we played it so much and it was so much fun. But we took it out of the attic there recently. I say recently, like probably about 10 years ago. We took it out of the attic and it is horrific. It doesn't awful.
Hold up.
No, and it's like so you'd have the arrows on the screen as you would with any dance mat, but then the bottom right hand corner there's this pixelated woman and she's like going ham dancing, you know, in the bottom corner. But it was the reaction times of hitting the arrows. So obviously when we played, we played so much when we were young that we got the timing down, but you could not press it the moment it hit like the top of the screen, like it would, because there was that delay in kind of receiving the information. So I guess me and my sister were really used to just pressing it right before it hit the arrow, so we had it all the timing down. But I tried to break it out like a decade ago, and it was awful. But like, I mean, really fun memories, like, you know. And Take On Me is a song that's ingrained in my head forever. Like, will always be in my top 10 songs. Just if
Take On Me comes on at a club, do you like have a very specific dance you start to do?
Yeah, just me on a dance mat in the middle, like just in the small square, dancing my little heart out,
left,
like, yeah,
right, left, up.
There was a couple of diagonals in there, Kev, I'll have you know. Look, what about you? Now that we're off the dance mat,
do you know what?
revolution.
I'll stick on a similar kind of vibe. For me, one of my next accessory on the list is going to be the Guitar Hero controller.
Oh, very good.
I've forgotten about so many accessories. I can't believe I didn't consider that or the iToy.
Yeah, man, Guitar Hero was a special time for video games. Guitar Hero 3, I think it hit the hardest. I mean, Guitar Hero 1 and 2 were big games, but Guitar Hero 3, it got very mainstream, and that's when I got into it. And some absolute bangers on there. Devil Went Down to Georgia, being incredible. Like Dragon Force Through the Fire and Flames was a famous one that you'd always like play on expert with a friend and try and get as far into the song as you physically could. Before it ended. But yeah, man, Guitar Hero, it was simple, and kind of in a similar vein to what you guys were talking about. It was always fun to try and figure out how to use those to play games, because it was your A, B, X, Y of the Xbox, and you had your up and down sort of thing, and there was a way to do left and right as well, I think maybe with the whammy bar or something.
No way.
And you were trying to like figure out how to play games with them. Yeah, but no, Guitar Hero was so special. And it was, I remember I used to do this really sad thing. So I had Guitar Hero 3, and that was the only Guitar Hero game I could afford to get. Like, I couldn't get another Guitar Hero game. So what I started doing when the internet started popping off and YouTube started popping off, people would have modded songs for Guitar Hero online. And what I'd do is I'd watch them play the song, but I'd like play it on my Guitar Hero guitar, which wasn't plugged into anything, just totally not responding, but I was hit it at the right timing, and it would be like I was playing the song,
getting the mechanics of it down,
that kind of thing. Man, I loved it so much. It was so fun. It was very it was great.
We had Danny. I mean, like, you know, I mean, both of us know Danny or whatever, but he had the drums for Rock Band.
Hero, was it? Rock Band's like a PS one, and
Rock Band was the PlayStation one, and Danny had that. He had that and the mic, and then I had 2 guitars from the Guitar Hero games, which are compatible as guitars for Rock Band.
Perfect.
And it was my brother that owned Guitar Hero. I never bought them myself, but we used to go down. We had this band. Because you obviously could name your band. We had a band called Dangerous Philosophy.
Nice.
Great band name. One I've wanted to rob for like real bands ever since, you know. But we played, and Danny's parents have the patience of saints, because I remember we used to go down. It was almost weekly, and it was me, Danny, Thomas, Orna, Lauren even popped. You know, we were all of us there, and we kind of trade. And our friend Sean, who's like real loud and everything like that as well. And I remember one night, and it was 2 a.m. in his house, like on the ground floor, 2 a.m. in his house. His parents are still there, like we're all pretty young, and I am roaring out Ballroom Blitz at the top of my lungs. And the thing about the drum bit is that the bass pedal, bass drum pedal, was so clackety, and like you were almost like hitting the ground every time you pressed that. I think back on that, and I was like, how did his parents not come down and absolutely tear us to shreds for the noise we were making? Most patient people in the world, because we did that like week in, week out for months, just to like finish the career in Rock Band.
Yeah, me and my friends had that as well. It was just one of those. That's one of the best games I always thought growing up, for like kind of bringing people together as well, because like the compatibility of playing with. I think you could have like 2 guitars, the drums in, and someone singing. Yeah. And like we started doing that in my family as well. Like we got it one Christmas. We got I can't remember. Yeah, we had the Xbox. So it was Band Hero. No, it was.
No, I think Rock Band was on was on Xbox as well eventually.
Because I remember like even my dad wanting to be like, can we do Johnny Cash Ring of Fire, please? And like he just wanted to do all the classics. We absolutely can. And that franchise in general, I always thought was so great. Like they were just always taking it somewhere else. So like getting the drums and everything involved. Do you remember DJ Hero as well?
I thought about putting that on my list just because of how random it was, and it was really. If you had access to one of the decks, it was really fun.
Yeah, one of my mates had it, and I remember having a go, and I was like, you can get into this quick, and you probably think you're a DJ. Like, of course, what you're doing is slightly moving your hand back and forward and
switching decks and whatever.
It was great,
I'm so badass, But they did, that was the nice thing about it, because we played it, I think, generally speaking, normal or hard difficulty, never like the hardest. But when you finish songs like that, because we all used to take turns and just switch around everything, and like you'd see someone belt out a song and get like an A rank, and you'd be sitting there being like, nice job. It's
singing
just
was the hardest part.
Yeah,
that was the hardest to get points.
Yeah, because you had to match the pitch, didn't you? Like there was a pitch on screen, and you had to pitch your voice up to match. It was the closest to actually using the instrument out of any of them. It was like using your voice to try and match the pitch of the song. Yeah.
Great shout. Yeah, guitar things. I think at this point I will take some time in the episode to do some housekeeping. Just let our listeners know what's up and coming and what we have planned. So, people who are listening to the podcast still may have noticed we had 2 post shows come up over the last 2 weeks. There will be a post show after today's episode as well. I actually haven't run that by you guys. You guys okay to do a post show today?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure.
All right, sweet. There's a post show today, which will be the last of the post shows that will be available on our just on Spotify. After that, we will be opening up a Patreon. I've came across, Luke, you'll be happy to hear some of our very old episodes of the podcast.
I'm not happy to hear that at all.
They're not bad. So I always used to think they were terrible, and today I was listening to them, and they're not. That content-wise, not that bad. Quality-wise, they're not fantastic, but content-wise, I'm listening to this and be like, damn, we did all right. Like a couple of years ago, we were still.
What did we talk about?
Topic was
actually, Can I ask a different question? How long ago were these recordings?
These were the ones that we did with Craig. I think there's 1 or 2 where it's just you and me. So that would have been done your house on those old
Snowball mics.
Yeah. And then there's the rest of them are with you, me, and Craig. There's one with Andy Dunn, our good friend Andy Dunn. He did one with us as well. They're I won't go into the topics. I'll save them for our Patreon listeners, because we are going to try and set up a Patreon and put in extra content for people there. More news on that to follow. But if you've been enjoying our short post shows, that's where you'll need to go after today. So today will be the last free drop post show, and everything after that, we're going to be me going to be an asshole about, and put it behind a money barrier and make you pay for stuff. I hope we still have followers after this episode.
You should.
We're still making normal content though for free.
For free.
Yeah. Just those random post shows. So and on top of that then as well, it's kind of been 2 weeks since Hogwarts came out, or a week?
10th of.
10th. Okay, so it's just been a week and a half. Yeah. So in about another 2 weeks or so, we'll be doing our Gift of Games Club. And we'll be talking about Hogwarts, so keep an eye out for that one. If you've been playing it, I hope you've been enjoying it as much as myself and Kevin have.
Loved it.
Yeah,
loved it.
It's been so much fun. But now we'll go back into the show, and we'll kind of going through a couple more accessories. You guys still got more accessories?
Oh yeah,
right?
for
got
sure.
One or two more. Got one or two more.
Let me just check my list here to see what else I wrote down. Okay. Here's one that I can just talk through really quick, because I remember it being quite a cool, unnecessary thing in a sense that PlayStation was behind on this. But one thing I always loved were multi-taps.
Oh, yeah.
Multi-taps just as well for the name of them, because PlayStation 1 and 2 only ever had 2 controller ports, whereas Nintendo consoles tended to have 4. Xbox had 4 controller ports as well, yeah. So PlayStation were behind. So you used to have to buy this accessory that would allow you to... It would plug into the first port of the PlayStation, and then it would be a port that had 4 controller ports on it. Weirdly enough, the PlayStation 1 one was an L shape.
Yeah, I said that to someone recently, and they were like, yeah, it was an L shape, and you could put it around the corner of the PlayStation. And I was like, wait, was that why it was L shape?
No, you can't do that. You can't. People say no, because the design was terrible. It was awful, because the wire would come out of the corner. So where the L shape bent, the wire was coming out there, right at the corner.
Oh, from the inner corner.
From the inner, so inner, not the outside. So
it could bounces fray over time and eventually break.
Well, no, it wasn't anything to break. But in terms of if you waned to have it flush against your PlayStation, to make it look like it's an L piece and it just goes around my PlayStation, it would never sit flush. It was always like that. Multi-tap was definitely an afterthought. Yeah, pretty funny. But I liked it because I had 2 brothers. We always played games together. Having the multi-tap was a cool thing, and then the PlayStation 2 multi-tap was just a kind of rectangular. It made way more sense as a shape for what you're trying to get done here. But I always loved having them in the house, because it was that kind of thing where if there was ever multiplayer games on PlayStation, you had to have this. And I used to be the guy who'd bring the multi-tap over to whoever's house to play that multiplayer game,
We used to have to, I remember we used to have to ask you to bring the multi-tap over, and you'd have to get it off your brothers.
Yes.
So it was a whole pipeline of things that we had to go through.
It's like, hey Andrew, can I bring the multi-tap down to Luke's today?
And
ugh.
There'd almost always be a problem with it. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I was like, well, you're not having any friends over this weekend? Yeah, that was always tough. Yeah. So that was just a brief thing on the multi-tap. I enjoy it mostly because I really like the name.
Yeah, it's a great name. It's a great name and it's a solution to a problem that PlayStation invented.
Created themselves. Yeah.
No other console at the time had 2 controller ports, but that was PlayStation. That's how they did it.
What else you got for us, Kev?
Well, there's one kind of like a similar vein, almost more of an honorable mention, because I never actually owned this one, but I loved the concept behind it, and it didn't particularly work as an accessory. But you remember like the Tony Hawk skateboard, like the actual, did you ever like play, like actually try and use it?
No.
Impossible.
I didn't know it was here in Ireland.
Yeah. You could. I think Tara's brother, actually still does have it, but one of my pals growing up had it, and I remember like playing like the Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 when they came out, and just being like, oh my god, I can actually step on the board and do this. This is going to be amazing. Like I've spent years playing this game. I'm obviously going to be able to start doing kickflips, no problem. Could barely get the skateboard to go straight without falling off the thing. It was next to impossible.
I have no
use
in my brain. Yeah, in my brain, I have no idea how that would translate from you standing on this piece of kit to translate into actually playing the game.
There was like sensors on the side of it for sure, and like there was pressure points that like you put your weight somewhere and you tilt the board ever so slightly. You might do a different trick. You might pick up speed. You change direction, whatever it was. And I remember seeing the advert and being like, genius. Because it's one of those games when I see it in an arcade, you want to jump up and pop the euro in and hold onto the railings and like just start like shredding. But then when you try and do that, it takes about like €15 to even get comfortable, like to get the thing to go straight. So I was like, oh, we've got a home version of this. This is obviously going to work. It's such a big franchise. How could it not work? It did not work. It just, I just wanted to put it out there as like, good on you for trying.
Yeah.
But you fell flat there after this. You fell flat. And they brought it out again. Like I think you had Tony Hawk's Ride, and then like Tony Hawk Shred, and there was a good bit of time in between the two of them. And like they don't follow the usual format of your regular Tony Hawk game where you can just go from like area to area, unlocking things, getting the word skate, whatever. It was more of an arcade style, like time trials, max points on tricks, this sort of stuff. And to even land a kickflip was just impossible. And like I don't know if you remember but it looked like the little hoverboard from Back to the Future. I just had this like, I'm definitely going to be good at this. Never skateboarded in my life. Of course, I was shocking at it.
And even then, like even if it was a thing that was geared to gamers who also skateboarded, like none of it translates to how you use a board in real life.
No.
Not a single bit of that translates. Like it's not as if people who've skated their entire lives are going to get on that and be like, yeah, I know how this works. Yeah. Like it just, that's what I mean in my brain. I'm like, how could they mimic that or mimic what you're meant to do in the video game?
Well, in a similar way to how like the people who are best at Guitar Hero, a lot of them didn't play the guitar. It's
my favorite thing, just to go back to that Guitar Hero, I don't know if you guys remember the episode of South Park where Randy, they're all playing like guitar is the new thing, and Randy actually has a real guitar. And
I do know.
He comes out in the best moment ever, and it's there's so many times that Randy reminds me of my own father in terms of like things that he did, and like my dad has a big Randy mustache and everything like that as well. But Randy did that thing where he comes out and he's like, "Hey kids, why don't you play real guitar?" And he like stands up on an amp and he plays oh God! I can't think of the name of the song, but it's like I was soaring ever higher.
Oh yeah,
that kind of. He's playing that, and he's giving it socks. And I'll never forget because he's giving out to me like, "Why don't you play real guitar?" And I remember being in my room, quite young, clickety clacking away on my guitar, which must have been a very annoying noise outside of the room. My dad poking his head in, being like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Guitar Hero." I was like, "Learn to play a real guitar, Darren." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, pretty harsh. Luke, what else you got?
My next one is something that I thought you might also have on the list. Is something very dear to my heart. When I was a kid, especially around the Poké Mania era, when we all had like Game Boy Pockets and original Game Boys, it's the Game Boy Worm Lite. So it plugged into the exact same port in the Game Boy that your link cable did, and it just had a little LED light at the end of it, and it took power from the Game Boy and shined a light onto your screen. Because Game Boys didn't have backlights then. So it was literally a physical light that came out and shined down on your screen to light it up, which was amazing because when I was young and when I was sent to bed and the lights were all turned off, I could just get out the worm light under the covers and turn it on and keep playing Pokemon. I got caught so many times by my parents. I got in such trouble. It's a wonder they didn't confiscate it. But yeah, the Game Boy Worm Light's very, very close to my heart. And probably a lot of others.
You could do a whole episode about Game Boy accessories alone. I saw a picture recently of some guy who put almost every accessory made for the Game Boy Color together.
Yeah, I think I've seen the same thing.
The magnifying glass, the backlight, the controller, handle port, all of it connected to one.
The printer.
Huh?
The printer.
The printer. I forgot about
I
the
know.
printer. Hilarious.
I had a thing, and when I was in college, I remembered that I still had a working copy of the original Pokemon Red version. I'm sure the battery in it is gone now, like the battery for the memory. But another friend of mine had a working copy of Blue version, and she had a printer. And I was like, in my Red version, I was missing like 3 Pokemon to finish the Pokedex and get the little certificate from Professor Oak. And I remember you used to be able to print out that certificate.
Yeah,
nice.
That's the only thing I can remember you were able to print out.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what else it could have been. And we had this plan for ages that we never executed on. I'm so sad we didn't, because it's probably not possible now, where we'd get the final thing and print out the cert and frame get a little frame for the printed out Pokemon cert to prove we were real Pokemon masters. Yeah, that would have been.
Game Boy had some mad ones.
Didn't they have like an inverted camera as well, and you could take like a picture of yourself and print it on that like a horribly pixelated photo?
I remember
I think it was possible.
I think it was an American ad as well that I remember seeing on YouTube of that being released. And you know those crazy like American Family TV ads, and it's all like, "Hey kids, what you got there?" And it's it's 3D, or not the 3D printer, but like it's the Game Boy printer or whatever, and that just printing off. Certain, but yeah, as you said, pixelated is
you think you'd just get a camera, you know,
yeah.
if you wanted a picture.
If you wanted like a legitimately good picture, yeah. There was somebody. I think one that's made my list actually on the note of Game Boy is, we were such big fans of the Super Nintendo in my family, and I was a massive handheld Game Boy fan. But you could get a cartridge for your Super Nintendo that you would plug into the top of the Super Nintendo, and then into it you could insert a Game Boy game. Nice. And play it on the normal TV screen. And it had a 2-player mode. What was interesting was you could have certain backgrounds, and one person, it was almost like Microsoft Paint then. I mean, a friendlier UI than like the Microsoft Paint thing. But I could be running around, Pallet Town, and then all the background would be, my sister would just have the second controller, and she'd be picking all different markers and different colors and drawing this like lovely background frame to my.
That's so cool.
A really like classically wacky Nintendo. How can we turn this thing into a 2-player? It's like someone could draw, but there was this horrible thing that you could do where the one person could press, and it's that thing that Nintendo still suffers from, was where if I press select or my sister press select, you could then draw on the main picture. Okay. So like she'd always like for a joke press select, and before I even realized she'd done it, she would have drawn all over what I'm meant to be running around essentially, so I can't see anything. So that was a really wacky one, but it was cool to play Game Boy games on the big screen.
Yeah, that looked amazing. Well, yeah. Maybe
it looked as amazing as you would expect it to, which was like fairly average, I guess we'll go maybe around with one more each before we call it.
Yeah.
Unless you're out of ideas.
I think I'm pretty much. I have a few. I'll mention my last one really quickly because it's pretty much what you just said. It was the Game Boy pack that plugged into the back of the N64 controller for specifically
Pokemon Stadium.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Which was a great way to play, because once you beat the Pokemon League, you unlocked Duo mode or Dodrio mode, where you could play your Game Boy games sped up with the processing power of your N64. So you could go super fast mode and play through the game really quickly, and that was lovely.
That was a cool thing to do as well, to play that and to see your team of 6 come to life in the 3D Pokemon match.
That was really exciting. Yes, 100%. But that's my last one for.
That's a reasonable one. I think that's the kind of one I think of in terms of the level of the Zapper as well. That idea of playing your Pokemon team on the Nintendo 64 and Pokemon Stadium is definitely one that I think sticks out for me.
Classic.
You wanna hit us up with?
I suppose like one that I always love going back to because it's so compatible with so many different games. You remember like just plug in the steering wheel and plug in the pedals for the car and playing like Gran Turismo, Colin McRae's Rally. Do you remember that back in the day? And like that's why I think I love that so much, because like that's the sort of like accessory that, because it's so cross compatible with so many different franchises of the game, you could just constantly reuse it. And I think that's where like some accessories fall down, is that they aren't cross compatible with different franchises.
They are built for one purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Like the iToy, like we all loved the iToy when it came out. It was great fun, but all you could do was play the iToy games. And I suppose it's kind of similar when like the Wii, for example, with the accessories you get there, where like you can plug your controller into the golf club or the baseball bat. Like you could only play Wii Sports, but the steering wheel, my God, you could play so many different
Racing, any
solid
racing
franchise games with that. And it was an eye opener for me that I shouldn't be on the open road. I was I was not good when I said I was better with the actual handheld controller with the steering wheel.
But I think there's a sensitivity thing like that as well, because I mean, even though I drive now, we had a steering wheel it was a couple of years ago, and I think myself and my brothers got my dad to play it as well, because my dad's a big fan of driving, and the only games he ever played when we were young were like the Gran Turismos, the Ridge Racers, the kind of driving games. And like that, I can remember playing it now, you know, when I started driving like a real car, and even then just finding it's a total different kind of sensitivity. Like it's not, I think nowadays when you get stuff for like Gran Turismo 7, if you get the steering wheel, like the high end stuff now, it's probably very much driving simulator, like, you know, probably very accurate. But the one that we had years ago with the pedals was quite like, felt very arcadey. You know, there's a real heavy steering wheels that they flip back to standard
when they auto-correct back, whatever you'd call it. Yeah, there was some strength behind them. Yeah,
that was really good. I think for my last accessory, I kind of finish off with a more modern day one, which makes me appreciate how far gaming has come. And one thing that I loved, and I'm so glad I bought it at the time, was during the pandemic, when I would be up in my room quite late. I didn't want to leave the TV on loud to keep people up or anything like that, so I always used to plug in just a pair of headphones into the headphone jack of the PS4. Really enjoyed playing games like that. But with the PS5, I bought the Pulse 360 headset thing, that the PlayStation one that came with it, and it has enhanced gaming for me tenfold. The idea that you can have it on your ears and hear a thing approach from behind you or beside you, and like the sound quality, and it's amazing anyway. But that to me as an accessory makes you realize just how far video game, and like some games, I think the likes of, I mean, Kev, you and me still play the odd game of Call of Duty, like Warzone. I couldn't play a Call of Duty game without.
I've got the same ones that you do. I have them at home, and I have to use them to play it, because if I don't have that I will not hear someone behind me, as you've said. Like, they are unbelievable headsets.
And it's just that amazing idea of 360 sound, because I think with the PlayStation VR 2 headset coming out later on this month, or maybe like it's due in a couple of days, that has apparently 360 degree surround sound in it, which to me nowadays is such an integral part of games, because like when we talked about the Game Awards back in the first few episodes of the podcast, there was even a section for audio design. In terms of like which games are making the best audio design, and like the likes of God of War and Call of Duty were all up there, because that idea of sensing where things are coming from, or hearing things far away, or passing by a conversation, and you can feel that conversation pass you by on the left or right as you move your character through the worlds, is just, as a modern day accessory, I'm like, yep.
Yeah, it's insane. It got to the point, like, I would usually only use it now if maybe if I'm home alone, because it got to the stage that I was so engrossed into the game that, like, any of my roommates, if they came into the room, I would not know, because like the sound is so good. So there were end of times like someone would like come in, they'd be tapping on the door being like, Kev, and then they'd have to come up and touch me, and I could be in the middle of a game of like The Last of Us or something, and like you would just hear me scream the house
jump
down.
a mile.
Oh my god, so much. Now it's gotten to the point that like if I'm playing a game in the room, they're hammering the door being like, Kevin, like, you have to
don't get scared,
I'm coming in.
Well, Luke, Kev, thank you guys both so much for hopping on today's episode and talking about accessories. Thank you, Tara, for such an amazing choice.
Nice one, Tara.
Yeah, that was a fun one to think about. There's a lot out there, like a lot out there that we missed. And if we did miss anything that you listeners think we absolutely should have considered in our, I wouldn't even say they were proper lists. It was more like off the cuff accessories that we thought of. If there's anything that we didn't mention that you think should have been mentioned, you can hit us up at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. So Luke, Kev, thanks a mil. Hope you guys enjoy. Well, we're going to do a post show now in a moment. Yeah. So I'll talk to you guys in a moment. But for the rest of you guys out there, please keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye all.